Hi, everybody. Welcome to Weekly Lives in March, celebrating women in business, women CEOs, and me talking to my friend, fellow coach, who is all about health and wellness. And today we will have a conversation about food because truly, to be a highly performing CEOs, operate at our best. And one of the things that helps us do it is proper nutrition. So, since I'm not an expert in it, we'll have a chat with Heather. Hi, Heather. How are
Hey
you?
Maggie, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I just came back from a walk, so like the cold air of
Ooh,
Canadian or Toronto weather is getting to me, but we'll get there.
right?
We'll get there.
Yes,
How are you?
I'm fabulous. But first of all, kudos to you for going for a walk
I
because
know.
that's huge. Can we just start off by saying a lot of people, especially in midlife, think that you have to exercise more to lose weight and all that, but I encourage exercise because it feels good
Yeah.
and not to lose weight because you can never out exercise a bad diet. So we do stuff like this because it feels good. Like we don't have to kill ourselves at the gym. We want to get in out in nature and ride our bike and play tennis and all of that stuff. So good for you for
Yeah.
getting out there.
Thank you. Thank you. But talking about, out exercising a diet or whatever. But actually, before you join, I was saying, for me, when I coach my clients to be the best CEOs they can be in their business, for me, high performing CEO, it means, you think at your best and you feel at your best and you operate at your best. And part of it is nutrition. Now, I'm not a health expert, right? So I don't tell the clients what to eat, what not, but I tell them like it is important, right? Because your brain needs energy and a good type of energy to be creative, to be strategic, and even the way you feel impacts how you show up in your business, your productivity, and so on. So since you do specialize in nutrition, and I like good healthy food myself, let's talk a little bit about that, right? Because there is a lot of things that are like, what should I eat? Okay, I want to eat healthy, but should I go vegan? Should I do this? Should I do that? I would love your opinion for it. And then I'm going to share what I do from like a regular business person perspective without, having any expertise to just feel good and have my nutrition help me in a way in my
Mm,
business and in my life overall.
mm. Okay, I love this. First of all, I am a holistic nutritionist, so I do have a background in this. And the one thing that I want everybody to keep in mind is what you do to get your body where you want it to be is what you'll always have to do to keep it there. So it's all about sustainability.
Mhm.
And if you want to be at the top of your game to run your business, it's based on food because food is what nourishes your brain. And there's so much information out there, eat carbs, don't eat carbs, and it's just so
Mhm.
confusing. And on top of that, the food industry is designed just for you to become addicted to the food. So their best interest isn't for you to be the healthiest Maggie that you could be. It's for Maggie to buy more of their food, right? So what you want to do is you want to find out what you can do that makes you feel good, get you the body you want, and that you could do every single day. So the sustainability is the
Mhm.
biggest part. And the answer is like, here's like the summary, just eat whole clean foods, period.
Yeah.
If you only did that, you'd allow your body to function the way it needs to function.
Mhm.
Whole clean foods. So fruits, vegetables, and grains, and unprocessed. So when we're talking about carbs, being good or bad, the refined carbs are bad. The unrefined carbs are good. The carbs give us our
Yeah.
energy, feeds our
Yeah.
brain. Like
Yeah.
our brain needs 500
Yeah.
calories just to function, right? And so that's where the energy comes from. Carbs are the best, most efficient way for our body to turn food into energy.
Yeah.
And so it's instant energy for us. Like we go off track when we start getting into the refined carbs, the processed carbs, the carbs
Mhm.
with all the sugars and that kind
Mhm.
of thing. So
And
I
it's
hope that
true, like,
helps.
from then again, the things I read and so on. Yeah, our brain needs sugars, right? Need carbs. And And sometimes when you eat deprive it, like it's hard to think. Like I, for example, I eat on a regular basis. I'm relatively, I guess, thin, so I don't have a lot of like stored stuff. So if I don't eat on a regular basis, I go on a sugar low. And then I can think, right? Like if I go too long without eating, like it's not good. But I don't think. But
You get
so
hangry.
yeah, I need to watch myself, so I'll get angry.
Your husband knows that.
Yes, we are both, what, we're kind of both the same. So we have certain like routines and when we eat and stuff. But I think like I go back because that's definitely like my philosophy for me, eating and for my family. If I have two young kids, I want to make sure that they're as healthy as possible. And I guess lucky me, and that might not be the case for everybody. I was born under communist regime, okay, like where we just had what grew back then in Poland, and whatever my mom had, she cooked. There was no going out, there was no processed food, and so on. So now that I think about it, it gave me really good habits to just continue. That's what I was used to. We eat stuff at home. Yes, we eat meat and we eat vegetables, but it's all low processed, taken out from the farm and then cooked by my mom or my grandma, right? And that's sort of what I continue. And I realize that's a great foundation to have that I didn't even need to develop. I just had it.
Yeah, and lucky for you, it was a great upbringing that works in your favor because most people have an upbringing so what happens is we learn about food and health from our families. And so if I learned it from my mom and she learned it from her mom and she learned it from her mom who had no food and lived on a farm and there was lack and struggle around food, then that's what was passed on to me in this day and age where there is no lack and struggle, right? And so it's really important that we're aware of our beliefs, our thoughts and our beliefs around food and ask ourselves, is it legit, first of all? And is that my thought or belief? Or is that just subconsciously what's running the show because that's how I was raised? So yours was a great upbringing for the reasons, excuse me, that you just said, right? Like the mindset of, I'm going to grow and I'm going to eat what I have. This is fantastic. But also, I think every single person is different. So there is no one size fits all. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's capability is different. Everybody, the access that people have, it's different for everybody. So you want to really fine tune what works best for you.
Yeah.
And the way you do that is trial and error.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
And I totally agree with you because even me, like, I love good food. Don't get me wrong. I love it. And I love to, like, what I love being in Toronto and in Canada, you get access to all kinds of cuisines and they're so delicious. Yeah. So I have to say, it's not like I cook traditional Polish food anymore. I barely ever do it, right? Because as you say, as I moved around and also evolved and I have a kids and they look like certain things and so on, you adapt, like you try different things. Oh, I kind of like this. What can I do this and so on? So I love that. And I've noticed that what helps me also is to be intentional, meaning I intentionally want our family to eat healthy. And also I will create a systems that help me do that, but also I'll pick certain information from experts like you or a show and so on. That's something I'll just adapt one thing. Oh, the more green vegetable is good. Okay, well, how can I implement a little bit more green vegetables into our diet, right? And the one thing I also say, and we'll talk about habits next week, is I make it easy for me to be able to eat healthy. So, for example, I cook. I love to cook. This is one of the things, right? Like I like to do it. I dance in the kitchen and it kind of relaxes me. But I don't like to cook during the week when I have busy, like full schedule between my clients and my kids. So what I do, I cook in bulk during the weekend, right? And then we kind of eat and then Fridays we'll do something like fun or whatever, just because we run out of food and kids want it and so on. But then it's so easy during the week because we have stuff in the fridge and we just heat it up. Yeah. And I find it works for our lifestyle. If I had to cook from scratch every day, like I would never eat healthy. Like it would be just too much.
Yeah, added up the numbers and it's astounding how many meals a person makes in their lifetime. So if you're going to spend that much energy on something, you want to streamline it and make it efficient.
Mhm.
And I'm the opposite of you. I do not like to cook, but I love to eat. Like but my superpower is eating, right? So I figure out how can I make it as easy
Uh-huh.
as possible so I can eat as much food as possible and be as healthy as possible. And batch prepping is one of those ways. Like I will cook a whole bunch, but I'm organized because if I'm organized and I plan it ahead of time, it makes my life so much easier. And
Mhm.
I'm the type, like I've figured out I know exactly what works for my body, especially in midlife. Like ladies, when you get into midlife, everything changes and you're going to go through another
Mhm.
transition, a hormonal transition. But all you have to do is hold space for yourself and nourish your body. And the more you nourish your body, the quicker your body will balance itself out again and get back to, business as usual. So it's really, really important that you find out what works for you. What works for me is I only eat usually 2 meals a day, and I don't eat my first meal till like 11, 12, and it's all vegetables. Like my breakfast or breaking my fast is
Mhm.
as many vegetables as I could possibly eat. Now, that's not your traditional breakfast that
Yeah, no.
say my mom, yeah, like it's not, but I wanted to look at where did that come from? Like where does the
Mhm.
traditional breakfast come from? Where do snacks come from? Well, the corporations that make snacks kind of created snacks, right? Like we don't need that. Our body doesn't need that. And because I specialize in, women's health, it's like we as women want to get back to listening to our bodies. Our bodies always have the answer, but we've just forgotten or we don't trust that our
Mhm.
body, has the wisdom and knows, but our body always has the answer. So if we can fine tune that skill, of knowing what a hunger cue actually is,
Mhm.
like what does my body actually feel like when it's hungry? And then I can tell the difference between actually needing to eat or an emotional eat, right? And that's where we go
Right.
astray is emotional eating.
Yeah. When we, I don't know, binge on TV, the things, yeah,
Yeah.
that we don't
Yeah.
need. Yep, agree. And so what happens is, I've noticed that, but even not only with eating, with people, and even myself, right? You got to be really intentional when you get tired at the end of the day. That's our, and when we run our businesses, so let's just say we're both, business owners, you make a lot of decisions throughout the day. So talking about brain energy, it's actually draining, right? You might not be moving and so on. You might be like, oh, I sat all day in front of a computer. Why am I tired? Well, it's because you're draining your energy by getting your brain to make decisions. So towards the end of the day, because your fuel is low, it's so easy to then go into snacking or craving food that's not the best for you, just because we don't have even willpower anymore to stop ourselves from doing it if it's like right in our face and you're kind of hungry and things like that, right? So that's something I am aware of, and for us to be aware of. That's why we do have, just like you have your kind of meal system, we in our family have our times when we eat to avoid that, right? So to not get into like, oh, now I'm kind of hungry and I don't have the willpower, let me eat a bag of chips or something.
Yeah, and you know this because when you're teaching your business people, it's the same idea with food is that if you decide ahead of time what you're eating the next day, your
Yeah.
prefrontal cortex has made the decision. So
Yes.
now it's in your brain. But if you don't, when that time comes up, your monkey brain will into it. It's like you
Mm-hmm.
eat those chips, come on, just have one, and then you eat the whole bag. But if you've made it ahead of time, a different part of your brain, the decision-making part, has already
Mm-hmm.
made that decision. So it's harder to talk yourself out of it. And you don't even
Yes.
need to talk
So good.
yourself out of it. And so it's easier to stick to that decision, right?
Yeah.
And so that's part of the process is deciding ahead of time what you're going to eat. So it's easier to stick to it and not go
Yeah.
astray, right? One thing that I always encourage too is trying to get as many superfoods just as a regular part of your day. Like I brought some of the stuff here, like just to show you, like
Okay.
green
Yeah.
tea. Green tea is a superfood.
Okay.
Green tea helps to it helps people not get illnesses. So the more you drink of this, the stronger your immune system, your health system is. So if you just have a cup of tea every single day, boom, you're increasing your immunity. And if you have two, even better. So this is just tea
Mhm.
that you're drinking, right? If you don't like coffee, I don't drink coffee, you could have like not coffee, which is it's just mushrooms. We're not talking magic mushrooms. We're talking like shaga and reishi
Mhm.
and cordyceps. Like they all have healing properties. And this here, this is like a crazy superfood, goji
Mhm.
berries. Goji berries is packed full of nutrients, and every day we just have a handful because that's just what we do. So I'm nourishing my body with the foods that I
Mhm.
eat, like fresh turmeric, number one anti-inflammatory. So you just grind that up and put it into a drink. Or if you need something to eat, it's like,
I
look
love
at
that
this.
one.
Yeah,
Sauerkraut.
sauerkraut, no sugar.
I,
Yeah, it's from Costco. And you know
yes.
why it's so good? Because it's fermented, so it's got good
Mhm.
gut bacteria. So these are all foods that you eat that are superfoods that are healing your body or
Mhm.
giving your cells the energy that your cells need to do the activities to function with the brain or to heal the body. Like this is medicine right here. And I get so excited about it because there's no side effects to eating this, right? There's
Yep.
no caution.
Yep.
Like it doesn't say here, if you eat this, this could kill you. It doesn't say that. And it's a food that's helping heal
Yeah.
your body. So you know you can't go wrong if you find the foods that are right for you and what you're trying to do. So that's why the foods that I eat always change. What am I working on right now? And my foods will reflect that, right? So if Maggie
Mhm.
came to me and said, "Oh, I have digestive issues," well, then your foods that you eat would be focused on that, as opposed to, "Oh, I want to lose weight," then the foods you eat would be focused on that. So definitely food is a medicine, and it's we're in control of
Mhm.
what we put into our bodies. It's
Mhm.
so powerful. I hope everybody realizes like how powerful every bite matters. Like every single forkful that we put into our mouth is really, really important.
I love that. You're so right. Now, as a regular thing, I'm not gonna say I don't eat cake or I don't eat sweet stuff. I do. I love it, but I do on a day to day. First of all, I choose, the sweets that I eat, or whether they're sweet fruit or dark chocolate or
Yep.
whatever. But occasionally, yeah, I'll have a cake, I'll have things. But like, I'm always, you know, even in business, as I coach my clients, it's about balance, right? It's the 80-20 rule.
Yep.
If I do something consistently that's good for me 80% of the time, the 20% doesn't matter ultimately, right? Or it doesn't have such a big impact. And also, what helps me, and I will, ask you a question about that, and I guess we'll finish then. But what helps me is like developing certain identity, and I definitely have an identity of a person who's just healthy. Like I want to be healthy, I want my
Yep.
family to be healthy, and I consider myself a healthy
Mm.
person. Therefore, I always prioritize things that help me with that, right? So whether it's food or being active or having enough sleep, because I know that, when I'm healthy, I can do the best, I can be the best for my family, for my business, for my clients, and all that, and
Mm-hmm.
ultimately be the best I can. And that's sort of the message I want, the main message that I would like to convey to my clients as well. So, what do you think about that?
Okay, I love everything you said. And the key is like I'm just somebody who nourishes my body with food. So it's the end goal of having a healthy body that allows you to do all these
Mm-hmm.
wonderful things you want to do. You have that goal, but what gets you there is the daily
Mm-hmm.
actions every single day. So being committed, even
Yes.
when I don't want to, I move my body for 30 minutes. I go for my walk. Even when I don't want to, I eat the clean foods
Mm-hmm.
because if I do it every single day, so it's not most of the times it's not a matter of not knowing what to do, it's sticking to it.
Do it and
So
do it.
it's being self disciplined. So if you know the answer of the
Mm-hmm.
foods you should eat, you don't have to work on that. You have to work on the self discipline. How do I show up every day and do that? And you're right, you're human, so you want to have those foods. You know what I do because I love eating sweet stuff and that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
I make all of my sweet stuff with whole clean foods and no added sugars. And so for me, I can eat a lot of it. Like I'll make a dessert that has no sugar in it, but it's made out of sweet potatoes and chickpeas and you would never know it and it's super delicious and you can eat as much as you want of it. And to me, I'm living my best life when I can have a dessert where I can just eat all of it if I want. Like that really makes me happy. It brings me a lot of joy.
I might eat some of your recipes.
Yeah, you know, on my Instagram, I do that all the time because I
Mhm,
just have whole clean foods and I keep it as simple as possible. Because, like I said, I'm lazy. I don't like to cook,
mhm,
but I like to eat. So, how can I make these
mhm,
desserts that
mhm,
are super easy but delicious? Like I feel like
mhm,
I'm eating a dessert. So there's no lack, there's no
mhm.
restriction, there's just
Yeah,
abundance, and everybody's happy when the
yeah.
thoughts about food are abundance. Have as much as you want, right?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So, I do you have anything going on? I thought you told me you had something going on that maybe
Uh,
you want to tell
yes.
whomever
Yeah,
is watching.
yeah, thank you, thank you. Next week, I haven't picked a date yet, so I'm going to put it in my Instagram, Heather
Okay.
London Coaching, when the date is. But I'm going to do a master class called Eat More, Lose Weight in Midlife. And I tell you the one concept that you need to know to eat more food and lose weight as you're going through the hormonal changes and you wake up one morning and you have like the fat in your stomach. That's a midlife thing. It's a hormonal thing. You haven't done anything
Mhm.
wrong. And I explain all of that, and you walk away with the one concept where you can apply it that day and have a whole new philosophy on food. And you could be like me, you could eat a ton of food and lose
I
weight.
love it. Okay, so it's next week. So maybe you will put well on yours so whomever watches they can follow you and then
Yes.
find out, or you can put it in the
Yeah.
comments. I will put in one plug, but for me, it's this Wednesday. I'm collaborating. We have an online event with Toronto Event Hub for women in business. And we'll talk about what it means to scale a successful business as a woman and doing it on our terms. And we'll talk about three main steps. One of the steps is definitely some balance and being in good health and so on. So we'll chat about it as well. I will, yeah, message me if you want a link. I've put something in my stories, but we'll meet next week, the last time, at the same time, talk about some good habits.
Oh, sounds
Okay.
good. Yeah. And thanks for sharing. Your event sounds amazing.
And likewise. So
Awesome.
looking
Thanks,
forward to
Maggie.
chatting next week and time.
Have a great
Thanks.
day.
See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.